Children are burning schools because they want to go home. I was talking to the young people, and most of the time they are like, no, that is not peer pressure. It's only because everybody else is doing it. And of course, I want to do it. Others were telling me, not unless maybe somebody talks to me, they influence me into being somebody that I'm not. That is peer pressure. But as long as I watch, I see, that is not peer pressure, but it is still peer pressure. Anytime you want to do something, always ask yourself, what value is it adding to my life? Hello, my viewers. Welcome back to Teens Untold with me, Auntie Marge. It's been a while, or do I say a minute? But all thanks to Miss G. I'm so glad she's been there. She's been standing in the gap. I'm so grateful for you, Miss G. Asante sana. But I'm back, and today, it's another day and another show. But while I was away, of course, I was not just seated doing nothing. I was busy, of course, interacting with the teens. And I'm back, of course, with a lot of information, at least a lot of questions that I'll be answering that they did ask out there. And of course, I saw the need to come, of course, and to talk about them, of course, so that others can also learn and, of course, get to understand. And today I want us to talk about peer pressure. Of course, I know this is a topic that we have discussed before, of course, and of course, in a company of teenagers, they have talked about peer pressure, what causes peer pressure. But if there's one thing I learned during my break time is that, yeah, they understand there is peer pressure, but what they don't understand is that we have different types of peer pressure. And on our today's show, that is exactly what I'm going to define. First, to define what is peer pressure, and of course, to let them understand like the different types of peer pressure. And to start with, I'm going to define what is peer pressure. Peer pressure, it is an influence weighed by people within the same social group, like influencing each other within the same social group. That is peer pressure, whereby you find that through either observing others or maybe them influencing them, telling them what to do, and of course you fall into what they're telling you to do. That is peer pressure. And of course we have different types of peer pressure, and that is the one thing that I realized that they don't understand. There are things that usually happen, it is peer pressure, but to them, they don't understand it is peer pressure. Then they are like, either I'm doing this person a favor, or I'm trying to be this like a nice person and all that. But they don't understand it is peer pressure, and of course it affects them in one way or another. And to start with, I'm going to start with the spoken peer pressure. Spoken is whereby there's this person who keeps talking to you about a certain thing. They want you to behave like this. They want you to wear like this. They want you to be in short dresses. They want you to dress like this. They want you to make your hair look like this. They influence you into being that person that they want to see in you. That is spoken peer pressure. Anytime you find someone pushing you into doing things that either you don't like or maybe you're falling for them, that is spoken peer pressure. As much as maybe you feel you are doing them to impress them, and to you maybe you feel it is not peer pressure. This is somebody either you love, this is someone like you just want to be close to, you want them to be your friends, and of course to impress them, you choose to do as they say without knowing that is peer pressure. You're being pressurized to be like them. So one thing you need to understand is that if it is something that don't go hand in hand with what you believe, your values, it is okay to say no. It is okay not to have them as your friend. You don't have to compromise your values to please other people. So you need to understand that you're being pressured into being somebody that you're not. That is spoken peer pressure. When people speak, when people tell you what to do, what not to do, where to go, where not to go, they're influencing in being who they want you to be in their eyes. The other form of peer pressure, it is unspoken peer pressure, whereby they don't talk about it, they say nothing about it, but they do. And of course, when you watch them doing it, you also want to be like them. There are people who you see, maybe, let me say, for example, it is in school, any institution. Maybe you find that like all your friends have boyfriends. And of course, you want to be like them. And so you choose to fall into that. As much as they did not talk about it to them, you heard about it. You heard them say, brag or do that. And due to that, you get influenced into doing what they are doing. That is unspoken peer pressure. You find yourself falling into that, what they are doing, and so they influence you in being someone that you're not. So many a times you find, like I was talking to the young people, and most of the time they are like, no, that is not peer pressure. It's only because everybody else is doing it. And of course, I want to do it. Today, I want you to understand, of course, that is a form of peer pressure. Others were telling me, at not unless maybe somebody talks to me, you know, they influence me into being somebody that I'm not. That is peer pressure. But as long as I watch, I see, you know, that is not peer pressure, but it is still peer pressure. Because even at times you even look into these celebrities, you want to look like them, you want to behave like them, you want to dress like them. That is also a form of peer pressure. So I want you to understand that it doesn't have to be spoken only. At times it is unspoken. The other form of peer pressure, it is direct peer pressure. What do you mean by direct peer pressure? Direct peer pressure, it is when somebody pushes you into doing what they want you to do. Like what they are doing, they're pushing you into it. They keep convincing you into doing what they are doing. Like, let me say, for example, they want to sneak away from school. They want to sneak, they want to get away from school, and of course they want to sneak. What do? Because they don't want to sneak alone, they want to tag you along. And so they give you 1,001 reasons why you should do it with them. They'll give you excuses, they'll give you reasons, and of course when you bring questions like, no, what about we get caught? They'll give you answers on what to do, like all the remedies. They make you have like everything figured out, everything planned, just in case something bad happens. That is direct peer pressure. And the moment you fall for it, the moment you fall for it, of course, now they influence you into doing it. Or maybe it is like in exams. You know, they want to cheat in exams, and of course they don't want to do it alone. So what do? They start convincing you, and of course giving you even remedies on how you're going to hide if it is the papers. I had them calling them more Kenyans, you know, writing them on your laps and all that, on how to do it. And of course, when you bring up the question of maybe if you get caught, what do? They'll give you reasons, they'll give you excuses, how you're going to justify, maybe how you're going to not even admit wrongdoing. They give you every reason. You know, that is direct peer pressure. We also have indirect, whereby what usually happens is, this is a child who wants to sneak and get away from school. Or maybe let's think of what is happening currently. Children are burning schools because they want to go home. So they want to do it, but they don't want you to do it directly, but they will send you either to buy the fuel or whatever they want to use to do the burning. So they use you to facilitate whatever they need to do the actual thing. So they will make you like run. They will tell you, no, you not be part of the burning, but of course you're going to facilitate on how we're going to get the matches, on how we're going to get this. They make you facilitate. That is indirect. They don't want you get involved directly, but in an indirect way. Or maybe they want to sneak away from school. So what they do, they tag you along with him, as they're sneaking out, you be there supervising to make sure they are not caught, nobody is seeing, and just in case somebody is seeing, to make sure you alert them to know what they're gonna do next. That is indirect peer pressure. Because what happens is, the first day you're gonna go watch as they do it. And of course, you realize the first day they haven't been caught. And so they do it the second time. And of course, you watch and they're like, they never got caught. What happens? That will give you the courage of trying it, even you yourself. So that time you find yourself doing it because you realize, they are doing it. And after all, hakuna mtu mwenye anamshika. And so you're like, I can also do it. Without your knowledge, you get pressurized into doing something that was not in you. So just in case of such a situation, it is okay not to agree in such things. That is indirect, and that is where I found like many children, many young people were not understanding, because they were like, mimi umwangalilia tu akienda zake, ama me, like we say for example, it is a boy, it is like in a boy girl relationship, they are having a relationship in school, you facilitate. When they write letters to each other when they're in school, they use you to wire like the letter from one person to another. They use you. So what happens? You do it the first time, the second, the third day, you also feel the need into being into a relationship, because it's that them using you into their relationship will make you feel it's easy, you know, it's nice, it's good. And so along the way, you find yourself falling for the same trap, even without your knowledge. We also have positive peer pressure. And when you talk of positive peer pressure, these are pressures that are positive, pressures that are adding value to your life. You find someone who is always pressuring you, like we go to class, let's go for discussions, you know, let's go like these positive, good things, you know, things that add value to your life, things that move you from one place to another. You have difficulties in some subjects, of course, and they'll keep pushing you into becoming better. Those are positive peer pressures. People who carry you from one place to another, like to make you learn good things. Let me say, even if it is in the field, like you're playing balls, anytime they call you, they are calling you, at least you go, like do practice, you know, better you, make you a better person, make you the best version of you. That is positive peer pressure, and for that it is very much okay. We also have negative peer pressure, for those who push you all the times into doing negative things. They want you to be the one copying in exam. They don't read, they don't do their studies, they don't do their revision. But when it comes to exam, they want to copy, and of course they want to tag you along. They want to give you the reason why that should happen. You know, those are negative peer pressures. You know, somebody wants to sneak away from school, and of course they want you to be there supervising, making sure nobody sees them. And in case there is somebody coming, of course you alert them so that at least they know what to do next. Those are negative peer pressures. All types of peer pressures, and of course I saw the need of talking about this because I want the young people to understand it doesn't have to be verbally, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be pushed, but at times it's that simple gesture, that nice thing you think to you're doing it out of either friendship, you know, a good heart, without knowing, as you're doing it as a good gesture, it is also influencing you into becoming somebody that you're not. So at times it's always good to think about it first before you even do it. You know, ask yourself questions, like anytime you want to do something, always ask yourself, what value is it adding to my life? And if it's not adding value to your life, that it's not worth being done. So you just let go and let it. If it is friendship, it is okay to let go. There's nothing wrong into letting go of friends who are leading you into negative peer pressure. I also want to discuss some of the causes that would make one be influenced, because you find that there are people who are easily influenced. There are some who it is not easy for them to be influenced. What causes like the young people to be more influenced than the other? One thing, it is weak personality. There are people who are weak in personality, you know, based on maybe where they were brought up, who brought them up, you know, how you were brought up, like the values that were fed in you and all that. So due to that, you find that they are easy manipulated, easy led into peer pressure. For example, maybe when you grew up, you lacked either the motherly or the fatherly love. So as you grew up, you find people who will be there for you, not to care, not to love, you know, not to be there for you, but to take advantage of you. And so because you lacked that when you're young, of course, it leads you into thinking like they are into love, they are into care, but in return, they lead you into doing wrong things. The other thing is bad parenting. Some parents, at times, they lead you into doing bad things. For example, there are parents who take alcohol at home. When they are going out, they'll tag you along, and of course, every single thing they are doing, you see them doing. So even when you go out there, doing those things will be fine. They will be okay with you. Why? Because mom and dad is doing it. So why not me? So it becomes easy, and so you lack the energy to say no. So even in school, when people come with alcohol, you just find yourself into it. You find yourself drinking, you know, smoking cigarettes, smoking bang. Why? Because they're doing it at home. So there's nothing wrong with it. And that is why I always want parents to understand that children do not only listen to what you tell them, they are also watching what you're doing. And many a times, they don't do what you tell them to do. Actually, they do what you're doing. Because when you're doing it, to them, it is very right. Because they always know, they look up to you, we as parents, as their role models. So if they see you doing it, then they don't see anything wrong in them not doing it. So I always say it is always good for parents to understand one thing. If you don't want them to do it, don't do it. And if you must do it, then let it not be in front of their eyes. Do it far away, where they are not watching, where they are not seeing. Something else is hormonal. Of course, hormonal reasons. At times you're growing up, there is that change from childhood, adolescence, to a teenager, puberty, and all that. There are a lot of feelings and emotions. At times you get attracted to the opposite sex. And of course, when you don't have people around you who will help you understand all the changes, all the feelings, like it is normal. Some go out to explore, why do I feel, why am I getting attracted? You know, you're not taught about control feelings and all that. At times you're led into peer pressure because the people you talk to, and that is why I always encourage young people. If you're going through any emotion, if you're going through any feeling in you, something that is confusing you, it is not good to talk to a mate, somebody who is the same age as you are. Make sure you talk to an adult, somebody who is older, because somebody who is older is somebody who has gone through the same you're going, and of course it will be easy to explain to you like what is going on, and of course give you the ABCs on how to control, how to go about it and become better, and of course help you go through those hormonal changes, you know, in a better way, and of course reasonable, and in a way that you're not gonna lead yourself into making the wrong choices. We also have fear of rejection. There are some who are rejected. They feel they are rejected, maybe at home, in school, where they are, in every institution. You feel you're rejected. Nobody wants you around you. You know, you're not loved and cared for. So the moment you find someone who shows you some small degree of like affection and love, you just fall for the bait without knowing they're not in for a good reason, but rather to influence you. And that is why you find that like so many children, so many young people are being led into gayism, lesbianism. Why? Because that small gesture of maybe love and affection, you know, and because you've been rejected, like you grew up feeling you're rejected all your life, and so you fall for it. And for that reason, you're influenced into making the wrong choices. Also, social acceptance, being bullied, and of course, every human wants to be liked. Bullying also make people fall into the wrong peer pressure, and it really hurts. And of course, you end up making the wrong decision. So what do I mean? Peer pressure is there. Peer pressure is real. As much as you want to convince yourself like you never fall for peer pressure, it comes in different forms. At times it will be direct, at times it will be indirect, at times it will be spoken, at times it is very much spoken, at times it is very positive, at times it is very negative. So what is the way out? Making sure that you are informed. We say information is power, and the moment you have information, you have all figured out. What happens is when you have the information, when they come to you wanting to influence you, because you have the information, you'll be in a position to put a stop and say no to whatever they want. So information is key. Nowadays, you have access to social medias. I always encourage young people, when you have that phone, instead of going to those websites whereby you go pick information that is not even adding value to your life, making sure you Google some of those things. In case of peer pressure, how do I handle it? How do I know that I'm being pressured into being somebody that I'm not? And everything is there, and of course you're going to read, and of course you're going to empower so that in case it happens to you, you'll be in a position to say no, and of course move on with your life in style. Until next time, this is Teens Untold. Goodbye.